Yeah. I'm feeling real good. A little wavy. I got Ocha in my cup. All right, man.
Good to see you, brother.
Yes.
And everyone watching home, you guys know what it is. This is the Kansai Collective coming live, episode 2.
Oh, yeah.
We fixed a couple of the problems last time. Problem number 1, I'm fidgety as fuck. I move all around, man. I'm over here, and you can't hear me. But I didn't know this. So, like I said before, it's a learning experience, as always.
What? I mean, who wouldn't be excited to shoot the Kansai Collective podcast?
Podcast. More of a YouTube channel right now. We've yet to get it on a podcast site, but that's coming in time. So stick with us, folks. We will figure it out as we go. As always, it's your boy Asa Questenberry, joined with me, my co-host, the man
Zane Johnson, man, live here in Kansai on this beautiful day.
We got spring coming around the corner. Beautiful day. Weather is nice. 20 degrees for people back in America. 20 degrees Celsius is
not sure. Maybe 60s.
Not cold.
60s,
high 60s, almost 70s.
Okay.
High 70s.
Yeah, man.
What are we doing today, Zane? What are we talking about?
So today we're going to talk about how did Asa Questenberry,
that is correct. That's
get
the name.
to Japan.
Oh, how did I end up in the land of the rising sun?
Yeah,
Wonderful Osaka.
Please,
good question.
tell us from the beginning point where you thought like Japan would be a good idea.
Okay.
All the way up to the point we are here now.
Okay. So if you don't know me, I'm from the East Coast in Delaware. Shout out to all my 302 family. I love you guys. I miss you all. I'm from the U.S. as you are. We're actually quite similar areas. But I've been all over, man. I was all out west. I went to Arizona for uni. Did some time up in Canada. And how did I get to Japan? Well, I went to Canada.
Okay.
I had like a 2-year plan, man. I was going to go to Canada. I was going to work. And it didn't work out.
So, Japan wasn't even in your radar at that time.
So what's odd is I studied a bit of Japanese, right? Okay. I got to uni, and they're like, you have to have a culture focus. You have to study some language. I sucked at Spanish when I was a student.
Okay.
Really bad. And shout out to my sister. My sister speaks fluent Spanish. Used to live in Spain.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Not me, man. I'm not a language. I'm not a linguist. I can't speak. I can barely speak English. But so I was like, fuck it. I'll study Japanese. Why not? I'm just like, let me pick the hardest one possible.
Wow. Okay.
So I studied Japanese for a little bit. So it was always like in the back of my head, like I wanted to visit. I didn't know what that trip would look like, but I think I kind of knew that if I came out here, it wasn't going to be a trip.
All right. Let me ask, have you ever been international before?
I lived in Canada.
Oh,
so,
okay. Yeah.
But
yeah,
international.
Right.
I mean, Vancouver, where I was at, is a very international city. That was kind of the first experience I got of, being in a public place and just being surrounded by non-English speakers. But that was very short-lived. For the safety of my visa here in Japan, I won't give in details what exactly expired that caused me to leave Canada. But
yeah, that's behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes. If you see me in public, maybe I will give you the story. It's a good one too. It's a good one, but we'll save that for a later date. So long story is, I basically took a large chunk of my young adult life figuring out how to get to Canada. You get there, and then the universe just had other plans, man. And I actually left Canada very unexpectedly. Drove back down to LA. I think there was like a three-week point where I was like, I'm gonna be a bartender in LA. I just got my uni degree. I'm like, I'm gonna take that fat debt and I'm gonna be a bartender.
Asa the bartender.
That didn't work out, man. That was a interesting point, but very humbling as well, though, because to go and I think anyone who's been through an experience where life has kind of had other plans, or so it seems, is very humbling. So I ended up back in my hometown for, I don't even know, man. I think it was a bit more than a year. And at that point, same as any young 20-year-old, man, I think my biggest question was like, well, what now? What do I do now, right? Everything I had worked, tried to set up, just got turned on its head. So the biggest question for me at that time was, what the hell am I going to do going forward. I was in a lot of like, mental space was really bad at the time. Definitely not like a healthy place where I wanted to be mentally, physically. But I mean, what do you expect, right? I mean, it was a crazy time. So I actually at the time was in a situation and I was working 2 jobs, one of which my father owns a construction company. I love my dad to death. He's wonderful. Construction. I know you'll watch this, Dad. You're the best. But construction is tough. And very much he wanted me to work in the construction company. So I had that option, but I was very like freaked out about knowing what my life would be like. Like some people, I have a good buddy. He's like, he doesn't want any uncertainty. Oh man, uncertainty is good for me. But the idea of knowing, if I took that job back home, I would have known what the next 5 years, 10 years. Of course, you can't be exact, but I had a general idea of what my life would be like. And that scared the shit out of me. I was like, no way do I want this. So I remember one day, I'm sitting there and I'm at work. I'm working in construction and I forget what we were doing. I think we were like demoing or cleaning out this big school and it's pouring its ass off. It's raining. It's like mid-spring on the East Coast of the U.S. So it's just humid and nasty and wet. And I'm in an argument with my significant other and I'm in an argument with my dad. And I'm just miserable. I'm sitting in this truck. This is like month 7 after getting kicked out of, removed from not being able to go to Canada. And I'm just super miserable, man. I'm sitting there and I think I was like carrying this big ass like pile of trash outside and I slipped and just fell. And it's just like, this was the most like heartbreaking moment. I'm laying there. Trash is everywhere. I got to pick up. I'm wet. It's just raining. I'm like, dude, oh my God, this is miserable. And I think my brain just like short circuited and I was just like, I'm going to go to Japan.
Wow.
And to everyone's surprise, I found a company that day. And the next day I had an interview with said company. And the day after that, they hired me.
Wow.
So in like a 48-hour period.
So, okay. So everything just happened really quick. But what I was picturing in my mind is like you went to a very low point in your life. But within this low point, this beautiful opportunity came to you and you were so low that because like you just didn't have anything, you were just open to the opportunity. Like, you didn't really care, what the details. You were just like, I'm going to Japan. You didn't care how you would get there. You just kind of committed to the idea.
You're spot on. I think for me, it was just like a mental realization at the time that the situation I'm in is not healthy. And I'm not going to heal in this situation that is unhealthy in itself. So I think it was, I won't say rock bottom, right? I'm very, very grateful. I have lots of opportunities I can, that work in my favor sometimes. And I'm never going to, act like I'm not grateful for that stuff. But at that point, at the time in my mind, it felt like, a very, very bottom, low point. You spend years working on a degree, you spend years setting a plan. And then when that stuff just, flips on its head, it definitely can take you to some low places. So for me, it was like, I don't know anything other than this situation is not working. And I need something that is totally removed from this situation. So that became Japan. That became this idea.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit of escapism kind of in that sense, right? But it was more so, it was sought after, just like I need some healing, man. I need to figure out. I didn't even know what the plan was. I think at the time I was like, it was more just escapism, right? Like I need to get away from this situation. So I told all my family, I'm like, it's gonna be 6 months. 6 months. No one believed me anyway, because I went from, I think I might go to Japan, to 48 hours later being like, I got hired by a company in Japan. And they were like, the fuck? What do you mean you're going to Japan? So that was a huge point for sure. And I told everyone 6 months. It's going to be 6 months. I'll be back.
So let me ask you this. What were your loved ones around you? What did they say about Japan? Like, what was their stereotypical type of Japan? Like, what when you say I'm going to Japan, like what did they say?
I think the first question was, do you speak Japanese? That was the number one.
Okay.
They're like, you speak Japanese?
Wow.
And at the time, like, because I'd studied a little bit in uni, but from that point, it had been 3-4 years without any Japanese practice.
But let's say, right, you know, you living here now. Is that Japanese? Did that Japanese help you here? Like, you know.
I think in reality, not at all.
Yeah.
Because my
right.
Japanese is still, it's mada. It's okay,
Yeah,
but
mada
it's
mada.
not
Not
wonderful. I speak very pig Japanese. I can get through situations, but if you're Japanese and you see me and you hit me with, you know, full sentence, there's a good chance I understand maybe 40% of what you're saying.
He's being humble. I would say 60. Give him 60.
Anyway, so in reality, it hasn't helped me.
Okay.
But as a young adult, I mean, I was like 22 or 23. I don't even remember. But at that age, being able to be like, oh, I've studied Japanese helped, I think, overcome the mental hurdle. Because it's on the back of your mind. I mean, you think, you're like, what the hell am I going to do? But, you know, you check the internet and you're like, oh, I'm going to go teach or I'm going to do whatever.
Right.
And everything says, oh, you don't need English. And to that fact, it is very true. You can definitely live in Japan, be in the English teaching world bubble and not need any Japanese.
Okay.
Right? We're both understanding of that. You might not be able to look at your bills or know what the hell people are saying on the cell phone,
Right.
but you can get by. So it helped with the mental hurdle of getting here. And this is why I'm really blessed, and this is why I'll always, you know, be very grateful for my family, is even though every single person in my family desperately did not want me to go to Japan, no one wanted me to go to Japan, right? But they still supported me. So that's something I'm always grateful for, is people around me knew like I was in a really not good place. So I was really blessed for that support of people that, you know, my loved ones who knew they didn't want me to go, but supported my own decisions as a young adult. So I ended up in Osaka, man. First apartment, straight in the middle of Osaka, which if you aren't familiar, is the bullet train station here in Osaka.
Right.
It is an extremely heavy tourist area and salarymen. There is no sense of family or anything other than cold concrete buildings.
Right.
But the funny thing is, I remember I'm driving to the airport the morning to go to Japan, because it was from the time I got hired to when I came to Japan, it was probably five-ish, maybe 6 months of setting up visas and all the paperwork, right? My dad's taking me to the airport the morning of, you know, we're sitting there, and I look over, I remember we're driving up 95 up to Philly International, and I'm like, Dad, I just want you to know if this plane explodes, I'm happy I'm getting on the plane.
Wow.
Because, and to be honest, so much shit had gone crazy in my life in that 3-year period. I was fully convinced that this plane was gonna explode.
Wow.
Bro, that was the mindset I was in, man. It was like
wow.
event after event of just like having a plan, and life's like, you thought.
Right.
So we're driving up there, and I'm telling you, I'm like, Dad, no matter what happens, if this plane explodes, I want you to know that, I'm very happy to have made this choice. Because at least I can tell myself, you made the choice to do something that you wanted to do.
That's a fact.
Right? And the shitty part is the plane didn't fucking explode.
The shitty part.
The shitty part, the great part. No, I say shitty part because I tell you what, man, once your panic dies down, I'm 2 hours out. I'm about to land in Osaka, and the plane touches down, and I'm like, oh, I'm in Japan now, and I can't speak Japanese. That's when it all dawned on me. I didn't even expect to get here, man. I mean, so much stuff had gone wrong that the plane touching down was a surreal moment. I remember walking out of the airport and being like, oh, wow, I actually ended up in Japan. And I think my intro to Japan was very funny. At the time was terrifying. So in Japan is a country that works on time. Everything in this country is on time. If they say the train is going to be there at 5:30, it's at 5:30. It's not 5:28. But I didn't know that. In America, they say, it's going to be here 5:30. That could be 5:40, maybe 5:25, right? You don't know. So I'm jet lagged. I look baked. My eyes are like this. I can't even see coming out of the airport. And I go up to like one of the airport staff. That was my first initial reaction. Is not a lot of people in Japan speak English, right? So you're fighting for the conversation. And I'm asking this guy because I had to meet the company that hired me. The benefit was they paid for my flight to Japan, which was excellent. And they got me an apartment before I landed. So I had an apartment ready to move in without even having to set foot in the country.
Right.
But the kicker was, they're like, you need to meet us at 5 o'clock at Osaka Station.
Okay.
Now, if you've never been to Osaka, we have Osaka Station, which is huge. Then we have Osaka Station, just 2 minutes north of that, but they're different stations.
And that's huge as well.
And it's also massive. Yeah, it's another massive station. So this woman is like, you have to meet me at 5 at Osaka Station, right? So I asked the airport staff, I'm like, I need to get to Osaka Station. Osaka Station.
Oh.
And he's like, oh, okay. Rapid train, 3, I think I got in at like 3 in the afternoon. He was like, 3:25, rapid train, 2 stops, you're in Osaka Station. I was like, bet. I should have plenty of time. Bow, coming at you. I was like, I'm in Japan, man. I am taking life by the horns. I get down to the platform. I got my translator out. I'm like, hell yeah. The train pulls up, 5:23. I'm like, this is my train. I get on that train.
Okay.
That was not my train, man.
Shit.
I hopped on the local, which if you've never been to Osaka, the airport, Kansai International, from Umeda, the main area of Osaka where the station is a good hour trip.
Right. That's a fact.
And that's on the faster trains.
Yeah.
The local is like almost a 2-hour journey. You stop at, I don't know, 30, a lot of stations.
Right.
And again, being an American, I'm like, oh, they said 5:25. Train's here 5:23. That's my train. That was not my train, brother.
Okay.
That was not my train.
Okay.
I get on this poor train, man. We hit the 6th station, and I was like, something's wrong. 6 stops later, I was like, we're moving really slow. And I'm just looking at the clock because the woman's like, if you don't meet me at 5, you have to find a hotel for the weekend. Because she's like, I'm going home. It's not my job to find you, right?
Right.
I'm panicking. I'm like, oh my God, like my phone's gonna die. Oh, it was bad, man. It was bad. Right? Yeah, so that was terrifying. And I remember just like trying to remember whatever Japanese I studied like 4 years ago, and I'm just going up to random Japanese people on the train. I'm like, excuse me, Osaka or Osaka? And they're just like, I remember talking to one, like, she was probably like a schoolgirl or something. And she was probably terrified. This like sweaty, jet-lagged gaijin is just coming up to her and like pointing at stuff on a phone. I got a bunch of bags of me. So I don't know how I made it there in time.
Wow.
I remember a Turkish guy. I got to Osaka Station, and there was just like a Turkish guy in the station as well who helped me carry my bags up the escalator. I'll never forget this guy. We had a very brief moment, like just a blip of my life. And he's like, oh, do you like Japan? I was like, I literally just got off the plane. And he's like, it's an interesting place. Let me help you carry your bags. And I was like, yeah, I need to go to Osaka Station. I was like, which exit should I take here? He's like, oh, this is Osaka Station. This is not Osaka. You're in the wrong place. But thankfully, that guy put me on the right train, and I got to the place, got to my apartment, and then I think my brain just turned off. I remember like as soon as I had access to a bed, the jet lag just
kicked in,
man. And then from there, 6 months went by in a blink. And the problem with that was I was like, oh man, I'm just starting to get my footing, right? I'm just starting to, meet some people. I don't want to go back right now. So then I stayed another 6 months. And then the problem with that is once you're here for a year, you're not leaving. You're not leaving, man. So I was here, man. And then I very quickly was like, I want to get some business going. My family's got some entrepreneurship in it. So I started my company. And then...
You started a company?
I started a company, DroneX Global. Thank you for sponsoring our show today. Check us out, guys.
More on Asa Questenberry.
I'm a man of many trades. But so that was the thing, man. I set up a business here. Family was not happy. The 6 months was slowly been longer and longer. Now I'm over 2 years, and then I bumped into you, man, and here we are.
Yeah, there's
Kansai Collective.
There's many things to talk about on that subject,
and we will talk. We will talk in all the episodes coming up.
But I think that wraps up.
It should, man. That's the long and short of how I came to the wonderful Osaka. I've been based in Osaka since day one, as you heard. I mean, my first airport in Japan. It took me actually interesting. Most people visit Tokyo initially when they come to Japan.
Right.
It took me 2 years.
Wow.
After I came to Japan for me to ever visit Tokyo. So my experience in Japan was Osaka, was Kansai, man. I never even got. I just went to Tokyo for the first time like in September last year, man. So
that's beautiful.
I'm a Kansai Jin.
Good.
Kansai Ben, Kansai Jin, Kansai
Jin.
Collective. Guys, thank you for tuning in. We want to thank our sponsors, W Station, for providing this wonderful space for us to film in. We couldn't be here without you guys. Drone X Global, as always, thank you for providing the equipment, everything we need to get started and to bring you guys some info. This fire straight to your headphones, straight to your computer screen, wherever it may be. To our audience, thank you guys for joining in. We hope you guys enjoy some of the shows coming up. We've got plenty of content planned.
Yes. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share.
All the subscribe things.
People
you guys
need to hear
do.
more about Osaka, baby.
And we'll catch you guys next time. Take care.